This afternoon, lifeline for self-acclaimed prophetess Patricia Siedua, known popularly as Nana Agrada's High Court in Amasaman, significantly reduces her 15-year prison term to just 12 months.
Also to come this hour, Attorney General and the Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, denies suggestions his office has been cutting deals with individuals involved in oral investigations.
We'll also analyze the recent data on the 2025 West African Senior School Certificate exams results, which highlights persistent underperformance in maths and integrated science.
It's News Central Live on TV3. I'm Kemini Amano.
And I am Mawina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now.
Now, the Amasaman High Court has today reviewed downwards the 15-year sentence slapped on controversial evangelist Patricia Siedua, known as Nana Agradaa, to 12 months. Agradaa was in July slapped with a 15-year sentence in prison with hard labor after a circuit court found her guilty of defrauding by false pretense. But in a review of her sentence, the Amasaman court while upholding the conviction, reduced the length of time to be spent in prison from 15 years to 12 months. According to the court, although the offense she committed warranted punishment, the severity of the initial sentence was disproportionate, hence the decision to review downwards. Sixtus Dong Ulo was in court today, and, well, he'll share with us details of what happened. Sixtus, talk to us about, happenings from when this started to where we are today.
Okay, so that would take me back to last year. You'll recall that this story broke in somewhere middle of 2025. But the sentence actually was pronounced in July 2025, and this was exactly 3rd July. And there were 2 charges that were brought against the self-styled evangelist. The first one was defrauding by false pretense, and the second one was charlatanic advertisements. Now, if you go into our criminal offenses laws, specifically Act 29, you would find these 2 specific ones defined, described, and the sentences given. Now, in the initial judgment that was given, or sentence that was given, the judge seemed to have taken the middle ground. The law says if you are convicted of defrauding by false pretenses, the judge can choose either to give you the minimum sentence, which is 10 years, or the maximum sentence, which is 20 years. But in this particular case, the sentence that was dished out was 15 years, well, with hard labor. We have to add that part to it.
Right.
So what is probably causing a lot of people, or this discussion, would be how we would go outside of the bracket between the 10 years and the 20 years to come down to 1 year.
So hang on. It means that the decision today is alien to the system.
It is provoking legal discussions. Because if you go into our criminal justice system, a lot of the offenses come with, in fact, all of the offenses are prescribed with their punishment detailed. And so in a lot of the times, actually, the judge may not have the liberty to go outside the brackets of what is given. But we haven't read, let me issue that caveat. We haven't seen the reasoning for this particular review that we have seen. Because the court admitted that indeed the judgment was based on the facts that were presented, the evidence as presented before the court. That is why I say it affirmed the judgment as given, but goes on to say the punishment was severe.
And yet still went beyond the
outside of the brackets as given.
Of the prescribed
sanctions.
I see.
Yes.
And so then, I mean, if prosecution wanted to take this case up again, is there a chance to do so?
Oh, there is. I mean, thankfully, our court system runs on a very good appellate system. That is why you see the High Court in this matter today. If the state believes that the High Court erred in this particular matter, it can decide to take it up. Because you would recall that the Agradaa case caused a lot of public uproar. And if you go into the charge of defrauding by false pretense, there are certain elements that you have to look at. That Sixtus comes to Kemini, tells Kemini that I can give me your 1 cedi, I can give you 100 cedis out of that 1 cedi for you, or multiply your 1 cedi into 100 cedis for you. You believe me and my statement and my ability, and then you give me the 1 cedi. Now, whether I have the power to do that, it's what is called into question. And if the stories or the testimonies were anything to go by, we know that Agradaa was not able to go by the advertisement that he made, and which is what actually brought up the second charge, which was a charlatanic advertisement. This is also in our law books. If you go to section 137, it's also there. So
now that the sentence has been reduced, right, what does it mean for the time spent in jail already?
It's factored into the sentence. Okay. So the judge actually said it starts from the 3rd of July last year. So it means that counting 12 calendar months, by July of this year, the evangelist would have been out of his
are we going to go by the calendar month, or we'll go by the prison month?
The calendar month.
The calendar month,
yes.
So by July next year. July this year, she'll be out.
Yes.
She'll be a free woman.
If you go next year, she'll come for you.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
Pleasure.
Sixtus Don Ulo is my colleague here at TV3. We'll stay on this subject because Lord Eduasare sat through proceedings in court today. He'll tell us a bit more about reactions from court. Excuse me, Lord, what can you tell us?
Right, Kemini. So you recall that Agradaa has been appealing the entire conviction and sentence that was given to her by the Accra Circuit Court in July of last year. Now, fast forward today, the court affirmed the conviction, which clearly indicated that it was defrauding by false pretense, and then the charlatanic advertisements by the complainants were two. So now, after reducing the sentence from 15 years to 12 months, the judge affirmed that the sentence which was given by the Accra Circuit Court was a bit too harsh.
Very well, Lord. Just quickly, just so that we do not go over the points we have already, let's talk about the reactions after the ruling today.
Well, there's been a lot of joy and elation from Agrada's camp, especially from, you recall that her husband has had to hold the fort in church since she got sentenced, and so he was particularly full of joy, saying that their prayers have been answered, and putting on record that yes, this, although it happened, a number of times have been saying that all the great people in the Bible, indeed, people that have been used by God, had to go through some form of temptations and all that. The lawyer has also been speaking on it, indicating that they are glad about the decision by the court because they were indeed of the view that things were too harsh by the Accra Circuit Court committee.
I see. For the first time, Agradaa in court did not hide her face from the cameras. Talk to us about her demeanor sitting through the review hearing today.
Indeed, prior to today, every time she came to court, she either had her cuffs covered or a white scarf covering her face. Now, today, it was unveiled to see her in all her glory, she seemed, at some point, she seemed a bit nonchalant, but getting closer to the courtroom, she seemed more relaxed. And the first and then present in court, and then came the decision by the court, and then you could see the flurry of emotions from her to tell that there's a huge sigh of relief and satisfaction from Agradaa Kenya.
Very well, Lord, we'll end it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Lord Eduasare is our court correspondent. Earlier, or Sixtus Don Ulo, we looked at a bit of understanding on this latest ruling that the court has discharged as far as Agrada's case is concerned, Moina. Very, very interesting development today.
Absolutely, and I think like Sixtus was saying, it's splitting quite some heads.
Absolutely.
Because there's a minimum, there's a maximum,
but outside the brackets, under what circumstances can,
The reasoning of the judge is what a lot of us are looking forward to. Maybe
outside of telling us the severity of the punishment was a bit much.
And then maybe telling us a bit more as to why the decision. But obviously a lot of excitement for herself and her camp as well, because they believed something positive was going to come out of it. And it has come out of it. 12 months down from what? 15 years.
Yeah, July next year, she's a free woman.
July this year.
Why do I keep saying next year? July this year. I'm still thinking 2025. So July this year is only about, what, 6 months away?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And then she will be free, unless the state decides to appeal this particular decision, where they will say on their own that we think the judge has gone outside of the bracket, or we still believe that the punishment should be severer than what this judge has handed. Then we could see another appeal which could result in whether or not they would increase from 12 months now to whatever it is he will be granted.
And I mean, law does not give that impression that the
states, well, it's within their purview, but considering
to that.
Exactly, but considering a lot of things that the state has to deal with and all of that, not many people are optimistic they will want to appeal this
Expend resources on
absolutely
this one. Anyway, what's happening next?
We're taking you to the Labour Relations Ministry right now, because we know that the Vice President is visiting some key ministries. We'll take you there shortly, but recent analysis of the 2025 West Africa Senior School Certificate exam result has highlighted ongoing challenges in core subjects, including mathematics, integrated science, and social studies. While some students saw marginal improvement, the overall performance patterns reveal systemic issues in instructional quality, examination preparedness, learning resources, and supervision across regions and school types. In response, education stakeholders are urging the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service to implement a coordinated, evidence-based strategy to improve student outcomes ahead of this year's WASSCE. Key areas of such focus include ensuring full curriculum coverage, strengthening teacher capacity through targeted training, introducing remedial programs for high-risk subjects, and improving monitoring and accountability for school leaders and education authorities. Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, IFS, Dr. Peter Pate-Anti, emphasized that improving WASSCE performance is critical for national human capital development. He is called for transparent reporting, measurable benchmarks, and structured interventions. Let's go on to Zoom right now and engage Dr. Pate-Anti for this one. And Doc, I appreciate you joining us. I recall on the back of the results, we had a conversation where you taxed, if I can say taxed, but there was some expectation from you as to what the Education Ministry should be doing. Months down the line, have we gotten the sense that they are looking in the direction which you pointed, reason for which we can avert results like we saw last year and this year?
Good afternoon. I think that It is unfortunate that last year we all were not happy with the performance that our students had for WASSCE 2025. And when that issue came up, we all came out to suggest ways by which we'll be able to improve performance of the students going forward. It's been 3-4 months down the line, and very soon, 4 months' time, we are going to witness WASSCE 2026. We have not heard explicitly from the Ministry of Education or the Ghana Education Service what measures they have put in place to ensure that we don't have a repetition of the sad story of 2025. And that is why we are bringing up and being proactive with this, because we don't want to wait for another disaster to happen, to have the worst performance over in recent times, and then we will come out and then we discuss it and then we let it go. There are thousands of students now on the streets thinking about how they are going to go ahead with their academic life because they couldn't pass core maths, they couldn't pass social studies, or the other core subjects, or sometimes even in their individual elective subjects. And as a country, we should not sit back and wait for another thousands of students to fail for us to now begin a discussion as to how we are dealing with WASSCE issues. And that is why, as an education think tank, we are thinking that the Ministry of Education should be forthright with us, come out forcefully to let us know what they have put in place since the release of WASSCE 2025 and what they are doing towards the commencement of WASSCE 2026, right, to ensure that at least we don't have a repetition of the sad story of 2025. And from our perspective and from where we are sitting and the interactions that we have had, there seems to be nothing that is going on policy-wise from the Ministry of Education or the Ghana Education Service to ensure that there is improving performance, to ensure that schools that had resources are given adequate resources, to ensure that preparation towards WASSCE 2026 is tight. And if we are not careful, we will have a repetition of what happened in 2025. And I think that it is important all stakeholders are interested pre-WASSCE than we coming out to always come and then lament after the harm has already been caused.
Troubling that you say, thus far, no clear-cut policy in terms of dealing with the challenge from last year. You're making a number of proposals. What specific professional development programs or interventions in the interim between now and then, in the next 4 months, June, July, thereabout, where the exams will be taken, can the senior high schools in and of themselves begin to implement to stem the tide against the bad results?
Yeah, so for example, you look at the core maths performance, and we all agree that it is the worst in recent years. There are teachers who teach core maths. The chief examiner report indicated certain deficiencies in the student's ability to answer core maths. What we are thinking is that it should be a directive from the Ministry of Education that capacity building in terms of how to teach core maths, with certain experts in the field, is carried out throughout the country in terms of how to deliver the core maths subjects for our final year students. Specifically, we are not talking about the entire first year to final year. Our focus is on those who teach final year students. There's not been any kind of thing like that to reorient the core maths teachers as to how to deliver the lesson, how to prepare the students towards the exams as it's going to happen again. There are schools that perform badly in the WASSCE 2025. We are thinking that as a Ministry of Education that is in charge of policy or the Ghana Education Service, we are thinking that there could be or there should be specific policy measures in terms of student preparation, in terms of the psychological preparation of the students and all that. We have not had any policy direction in that perspective from the Ministry of Education or the Ghana Education Service. What I can say is that individual heads within the schools have taken upon themselves to do one or two of these things. But we think that to ensure an improved performance across the country, there needs to be a coordinated and well thought through policy direction coming from the Ministry of Education. That's the ministry has failed to do, and we think that they should be accountable to us as the ministry in charge of education services. We don't want to wait till by the hard work of the teachers on the field and the students, if there is improved performance, they will come out and take the glory. So we want them to now come out to tell us what they are doing to ensure that performance increases as we move into WASI 2026.
Right. Dr. Partey, thank you very much. I'm sure we can have a conversation soon enough, finding out why the Education Ministry or the Ghana Education Service as well has not outlined any policy action, because this matter was also raised by the president and asked that something be done in relation to it. But I appreciate you speaking to us, and most certainly this is not the last time we're going to be speaking about this year's WASI and preparations towards it. It will continue to be one of the many subject matters on the front burner. But let's take you right now to the Ministry of Jobs, Labour, Employment Relations, where the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, is paying a working visit to and bring you live excerpts of conversations. We understand the Vice President is speaking now. Let's take you live for listening.
Getting somebody whipped is neither here nor there. And I hope somebody was held to account for that. Because nobody has a right to so brutalize another person. You are not the court, and you don't have a right to do that. And simply, and this sort of thing normally happens to people who are desperate for jobs, who don't have a voice, who don't have anyone to speak for them. Already they are desperate, so why subject them to such inhuman treatment? I take very, very strong exception to that. And so we want you to open your eyes, to and watch out, especially sometimes even domestic work, and people are just helping you in your home and you are abusing them. I don't understand that. So we need your PR, all of them, also to be properly resourced to educate all of us to know that we don't have a right to abuse people, for whatever the reason. Okay, so to conclude, to thank you very much for your kind reception, to encourage you, even under very difficult circumstances, not to give up anyway, to confront the challenges. Sometimes it is in the process of confronting challenges and turning them into opportunities that the joy of work comes. So please, everybody, let's look up, let's be positive, and let's do the best we can and turn our country around. Thank you very much.
For the press, some of the things.
So that's the Vice President. She's currently at the Ministry of Employment, Labour Relations and Jobs, but she's been visiting a number of ministries today. One of such ministries is the Ministry of Justice and the Attorney General, who has been speaking in relation to deals being cut by his office in relation to the Operation Recover or Lose. Here's exactly what the Minister for Justice and Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, has been saying about his outfit cutting deals.
Matters for and against the Republic, that have been brought in court. Then also we are vested with the authority to institute prosecutions on behalf and in the name of the Republic. So in terms of our civil mandate, that is the aspect relating to matters that are pending in court against the government, or where we are instituting cases against other persons on behalf of the government. We do all manner of things. The Civil Division provides advice to all MDAs in the country, ministries, departments, and agencies, including local government service agencies and the presidency. We also undertake arbitrations on behalf of the government. Currently, we have 10 international arbitrations that are pending. Mostly, I think all of them are against the government. And we inherited about 9 of them when we came into office. One was just filed last year against the government of Ghana by a company known as Blue Gold, and that is the only arbitration that has come. But the antecedents or actions that triggered arbitration occurred before we assumed office. So we're not. We take responsibility technically, but we were not the ones who took the actions that triggered the arbitration. But we are handling it, as if we did, because we have a responsibility to the state as our only client to defend the interests of the state as much as possible. There are also a lot of land matters, especially land compensation. And Your Excellency, those are becoming a big headache for me as the Minister of Justice. In fact, there is, for want of a better word, a tsunami of land compensation cases that are hitting the courts against the Republic, and the figures are mind-blowing. Some as much as 500 million Ghana cedis, claims being made in respect of compensation. The claimants mostly will go and duster, documents from the archives and claim that the colonial government did not pay compensation for land, and then they will take the government to court. And for some reason, they keep winning all the way, to the Supreme Court. So it is something that is very worrying, because the last time we sat down and did a calculation, on the back of the envelope, we are looking at billions of Ghana cedis in land compensation claims. So it is something that we want to bring to the attention of government. I have directed the Solicitor General to put together a brief for the President on the land compensation tsunami that we are facing. We also are the ones who draft all the laws for the government. No law is passed in this country unless it comes to the Legislative Drafting Division of the Attorney General's Department. And Your Excellency, there's one thing that I want to underscore. This is a critical division of the department. But I'm afraid they are becoming extinct, more or less. Legislative drafting is a very arcane, very tedious endeavor. It's a skill. So if you take people like VRAC Crab, he was the luminary in that area, and he trained a lot of people. But today, the acting director, Salah Ilyasu, and her team are, they are a very small group. So I'm looking for the opportunity to train more of them, because they are always, she told me the other day, I want to quote her, that we are overworked and underpaid. And I do understand, because there are just a few people who have to draft all the laws that you see being discussed in Parliament, all the bills, all the legislative instruments have to come to them. And they work, they are always the last people to leave this department with me in the evening. So it is something that we need to bring to the attention of Cabinet for something to be done in terms of funding the training of legislative drafters. We have one that is currently doing the LLM in the University of London. And we are hoping that he will return and that no one will poach him from us. So basically, in the civil division, these are the things that we do for the government of the Republic of Ghana. Now, the prosecutorial mandate is also a very important mandate, because it's a mandate that allows us to hold people accountable for crimes that they commit. And we undertake all manner of prosecutions. What you see in the media are the prosecutions that have a political element. But we undertake prosecutions in respect of murder, manslaughter, armed robbery, rape, defilement. And if the DPP were to give you the data on some of these, especially matters relating to murder, you would be amazed. So we do all of this, quietly on behalf of the Republic, but it is usually the political ones that get, notice in the media. And in respect of all of this, Your Excellency, I just noticed from a report made by the DPP that we are doing plea bargains, plea deals in respect of some of the offenses where people plead. So for instance, yesterday, I read the DPP's memo where someone who committed murder wanted to plead guilty to manslaughter and get a reduced sentence so that we don't have to go through the full trial. So we are examining that to be able to say whether in the circumstances we will accept the plea deal so that they don't waste the time of the court and waste the time of the prosecution. But Your Excellency, I'm saying this because when it comes to oral, and that is the next thing that I want to talk about, when it comes to oral, there are issues being raised about the fact that, or accusations being raised about the fact that we are cutting deals in the oral cases. Your Excellency, oral is going very, very well. The prosecutions which are being led by my deputy and the Director of Public Prosecutions are going very, very well. However, I want to put it on record, and the National Intelligence Bureau will bear me out. No docket has come here that has been compromised in any way. No deal, no plea arrangement has been entered into with anybody who has committed an offense that comes within the ambit of the oral briefs that we have received from the NIB and are prosecuting. We have 16 dockets under review, and then we will be putting those ones through the process of critical scrutiny, so that when we notice that there are loopholes in the investigations, we'll tell the investigative authorities to bring us more evidence, as we are doing now with the National Service prosecution. So I want to assure the Ghanaian public using this platform that we have not entered into any plea negotiations with anybody that committed an offense that comes within the remit of oral. That is very, very important. And to assure the Ghanaian people that people are being held accountable, and they will be held accountable as far as the oral program is concerned. Your Excellency, before I take my seat, I just wanted to highlight a number of challenges that we have.
And that's the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayeni. He will take us on to our very first break here on News Central. When we return, we have a bit more stories for you. Please do stay with us.
Now, the recent inflation drop from 5.4% to 3.8% has sparked conversations among Ghanaian consumers about what the decline truly means for the prices of goods and services. Noura Mohammed has been engaging shoppers and traders at the Makola market and brings us this report.
Rates recorded in nearly 27 years. While some economists are criticizing this sharp decline, some people have expressed excitement and are applauding the government for this milestone. Well, some citizens are still expressing concern and are saying that they have not yet seen a direct translation of this inflation drop in the costs of goods and services that they patronize, and it's yet to trickle down into their pockets. So we're here to engage some consumers and traders to decipher and figure out exactly why that is.
I think I haven't felt it yet because I think I came with the budget, with the prices, expecting things to drop, but it's either higher or the same price I estimated. It's not lower for me to enjoy the benefit of the inflation. The tomatoes, the onions, the pepper, but it still seems like the prices are the same. Compared to December, I was expecting, we are done with Christmas, things should settle down, but things are still not settling down. I don't know if there are committees set up to manage prices of system, to go around to see if sellers are doing that, because we feel it should be going down, but sellers are not treating the consumables the way we want it to be treated.
You see, now the system is hard, and majority of people are not, they are in the market, but they don't have money. Now the Pampers is 75 cedi, if you reduce it. At first it was 80 cedis, but now it's 75. The store people, they don't reduce it. If you go to Okanshi, they don't reduce it. They've increased the price. Today when you go, it's come down. Tomorrow when you go, it's go up. Every day they've increased the thing. They said they've reduced it. Only rice and oil that they've reduced. All the things they have not reduced it.
They say nyamanu ebimu wo ho a e wo fom ebimu so wo a still omunti so ti say tomatoes say e wo fom obia bisa otumi tobi ebedu time bi so ebetumi akọ 50 million 60 million 70 million enu de na ya shaking kakra nti say na krom eye nyamanu say na ya titi so dollar ni su aba from eye.
So far, I still haven't seen any reduction in the market because the things that I used to buy are the same prices I'm buying now. And if I ask the sellers, they tell me they purchase their goods then, so they can't reduce the items. So they finish clearing or finish selling before they can also, as the new goods come in, before they can also reduce.
But actually, we are not feeling it, okay? Things still remains where they are. Just recently, I think I was told things have been reduced, fuel prices and everything has been reduced. We beg them. We want to fill the money in our pockets and not that we'll just be hearing yes, say, yes, say.
Some experts say a reduction in the inflation rate does not necessarily mean a reduction in the general costs of goods and services. Well, the average Ghanaian consumer can only hope for stability in our economy, as well as the cost of the items they purchase with this new inflation rate as compared to the previous years. I am Noura Mohammed reporting for TV3 News. Makola, Accra.
From Makola, we're here in the studios on the John Hammond Street. Right now, we're taking you across the regions. This afternoon, we're headed to the Ketu South Municipality for the latest update on the Phase 2 of the Blekusu Sea Defense Project. President John Mahama in July of 2025 cut short for the commencement of work on the project, which is expected to fully protect communities along the coastline suffering devastating tidal wave destructions. My colleague Faisal Abdul Idris, who's a part of the tour by the Volta Regional MPs to the site this week, joins us with a bit more in terms of updates on the progress of work. Faisal is joining us via the phones, I believe. Faisal, barely 6 months since the president cut short for the project. What can you report?
Mawina, so somewhere last week, the Ministry for Western Housing, during their ministerial briefing, indicated that 25% of work has been done on the phase 2 of the Black Sea Defense project since sod was cut. You recall that on the 19th of July last year, the president did the sod cutting, and a few weeks after, work actually began on it. This week, as part of the Voter Caucus MP's tour of the Volta region, they visited almost every ongoing government project, including the project site for the Sea Defense project. We observed the steady progress in work. More than 6 groins have been built already. Several borders have been mounted along the stretch. Most importantly, somewhere last year, I reported on how the sea was almost destroying the Amutinu Basic School. Right after that report, the contractors indicated to us that they take steps to protect the school and the other very vital institutions along the stretch. That has also been done. The indication is that the work will be completed within the schedule that has been set for this project, including several other facilities that are supposed to be built. So I can say that a lot of work has been done already. The 25% the ministry mentioned, I perfectly agree with them, and we hope that with time they'll be able to finish this. The MPs who visited the place also expressed satisfaction on the progress of work. Let's have a listen to the honourable member for Ketu South, Abladi Fagomashi, and also the MP for West, Emmanuel Kusibeja, who doubles as the chairman for the Voter Caucus MP, who commented on this very progress of work at the Sea Defense site.
Right.
It would be presumptuous of me to just use my layman's eye to say it is 10% or 25% and then start arguing with what the minister has said. All I can say is that I'm so happy to see them on site. I have seen the work that they have done. Saving the school has been a problem, but I'm glad that they've put boulders around it so that what is left of the school is there. My expectation is that the work is done speedily, so that we see what can be done with the community.
Technically, they've done a lot. If you look at the drawings that have been done so far and the protection, you could see that the sea will not go to the other side. I am really, you realize I wasn't talking because 5 years ago when we came, there were houses here, but now you don't even find anything. I remember some time ago we came in a classroom there. People were living in that classroom because their houses were washed away. Today, you see that we are reclaiming the land. And so I'm grateful to His Excellency the President. My sister, who has been crying all the time, the question she asked in Parliament has been her sea defense. Life will return to this place. Initially, we were thinking of alternative livelihood. And the alternative livelihood is that when they return, they'll have a fish market, they'll have a landing beach, they'll have a place where they can trade. There'll be a cold store here. And that's the promise of John Mahama, and he will surely deliver.
We need to have all the facilities that will go with the job going simultaneously. So being the MC and the representative of the president, the listening president, the faith that we have kept with the government is on. The faith that the people of Gaveji, Salakofba, and Amuchima have kept with the NDC government is on. So what we are saying is that I'm looking seriously for land. I've got about
The Municipal Chief Executive there ending that soundbite. Faisal, thank you very much for the update.
Now, Western Region Minister Joseph Nelson has directed all municipal and district chief executives and coordinating directors in the region to strictly enforce sanitation bylaws in their respective areas. Addressing assembly staff in the Nzima East municipality during a working visit, he emphasized that under his tenure, the region must not experience a recurrence of the tragic 2024 cholera outbreak, which resulted in loss of lives. Irama Smith has more.
Following a cholera outbreak in December 2024 that claimed 16 lives and affected over 1,700 people in the Western region, the regional minister Joseph Nelson has called for a strict enforcement of sanitation bylaws across all municipal and district assemblies in the region. At a working visit to the Nzima East municipality, he stated his administration's priority to prevent another such outbreak in the region.
Let me caution that 2024 we had incidents of cholera under my watch. I don't want to hear anything about cholera outbreak. when we have such situations, we have to sit down and talk, because it will not be as if you didn't know. Cholera outbreak comes because we do not observe some sanitary practices, things that even we need to observe to ensure that places are clean and all of that. I don't want us to be recording any such incident over, the time that I sit in that office.
Mr. Nelson also cautioned against the indiscriminate siting of structures and urged the assemblies to ensure all structures are situated in approved locations.
Indiscriminate siting of structures. Today, as we are coming through from Hampton West or through, you see a wetland by the roadside that is being filled, and question is the assembly aware? If they are aware, why have they allowed it? We love beautiful things, all of us in this room. And so we need to ensure that once we have that responsibility to ensure that structures are sited in the right places, we must do.
Meanwhile, the Nzima East Municipal Chief Executive Herbert Kwa Dixon says a severe shortage of office space and logistics are undermining effective service delivery in the municipality.
Honorable Regional Minister, despite our collective efforts, the Assembly continues to face a number of challenges that affect optimal service delivery. These include inadequate office space and logistics for department and sub-zonal structures. Many departments operate in congested, poorly furnished, or temporary offices that are not conducive for effective service delivery, leading to low productivity, lack of privacy, and difficulties in proper record keeping. These constraints collectively affect staff morale, slow down administrative process, and limit the Assembly's ability to.
In some more stories this afternoon, government has reclaimed over 300 hectares of mined-out degraded land at Nyankumasi in the Mansoe-Dobia district of the Ashanti region with a cost of at least $448,000 restoring each hectare. Sector Minister Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa described the cost of reclamation as huge and unbearable without private sector support. William Evansinkum has more in the following report.
A safe environment is a habitat for all, even the ants. The cattle are back to graze in the field, but it was once a degraded land, vegetation ripped and forest cover dissipated by illegal miners.
So not only did we do draining, we also did what we call amphibious dredging, where we had to bring special machines to take the water out, then introduce new type of soil to the land. Because if we were going to use the same land that we did a backfill on, it was never going to support it because the land itself was toxic, the turbidity level was higher, so we had no option but to bring in foreign land. That makes it very expensive.
The new phase of over 300 hectares of land at Nyankumasi. Pensive as the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources is shown pictures of the level of degradation before restoration.
This is 340 or 320 hectares. If you calculate the manholes, pumping the water, bringing soil, this is about $48,000 per hectare. I mean, to think about the fact that as we speak, almost close to 7,500 or more football fields had to be reclaimed. And if you look at the cost, it's very, very clear that government's budget cannot do this work.
First part of last year, if you notice, we were focused on driving the illegal miners out of the forest, the river bodies, and especially by the roadside. Later part of last year, we decided that whatever it takes to restore the lands, we need to do that.
In 2025, government through a Tree for Life initiative planted approximately 28,000 out of a targeted 30,000 seedlings to recover degraded lands. Government intends to do more to reclaim mined out degraded land in parts of the country.
God must be smiling, a biblical phrase the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources used to describe the current situation. Restoration, reclamation, and restoring the fertility of the land is what the government through Newmont has done. And this is what, according to the minister, we are going to see over the years. All degraded lands will be restored and will be used in a way that will benefit humanity. From Manswe Dubia, I'm William Evans Inkum, TV3 News.
Now, traders and residents of Hine in the Jirapa municipality of the Upper West region are calling on the government to improve the market, a crucial economic hub in the region. A report by Upper West region correspondent Ibrahim Wangara.
The Hine Market project, initiated in the year 2000 as part of the Jubilee Market project under the former President John Agyeku Nkufuor's administration, has remained unfinished for over 26 years, despite being a significant revenue source for Jirapa municipality. In 2025, Hine Market generated 61% of the municipality's revenue, outperforming all other councils combined, which made the market not just a mere contributor to municipal revenue, but it remains the economic engine of the Jirapa municipality. However, the market is faced with severe infrastructural decay, poor sanitation, and a lack of standardized trading areas. Alima Ibrahim, a trader from Laura, laments on the impact.
For years, this market has remained in a deplorable condition. During rainy season and Harmattan, we are consistently overwhelmed by dust. There are no proper selling drains or storage facilities. Despite this, we continue to pay taxes and expect support from the government.
The Hine Zonal Council Chairman, Joseph Vielle, who led a peaceful protest in the area, urged authorities to work on the state of the market and upgrade it to a 24-hour economy market which would boost trade, create jobs, and improve revenue collection.
In this regard, we respectfully but firmly call on the Honorable Municipal Chief Executive, the Honorable Member of Parliament, and the Honorable Minister for Local Government and Rural Development to take immediate and decisive action to, first of all, mobilize the necessary financial and technical resources for the full completion of the long-stalled Hemp Market project, to approve and operationalize the strategic upgrading of the Hemp Market into a modern 24-hour economy market.
The call has been echoed by traditional and opinion leaders. The chief of Langulo emphasized the need for accountability and strategic investment in the market.
Market women and men of hand trades under the open sun and rain. They sit in dust during the dry season and mud during the raining season. There are no proper stores, no adequate sanitation facility, and no safe storage space. As a chief, this pains my heart.
The residents say their demand is not political, rather a personal appeal and a call for fairness, equity, and evidence-based development. Ibrahim Wangara, TV3 News, Hine, Upper West Region.
Let's take it to Parliament before we go, because the minority there is demanding the immediate payment of outstanding arrears owed cocoa farmers and a formal apology from the government. According to the minority, the government currently owes cocoa farmers close to 10 billion cedis, a situation they say is worsening the hardship faced by farmers across cocoa growing areas. Isaac Yaopoku has described the excuses by Cocoa Board as untenable.
Farmers have tended their farms through harsh weather. They have spent huge resources to control pests and diseases. They have toiled to harvest their farms and sold it to the government in good faith. Yet, months later, they are still waiting for weeks on end to be paid. Is this the resetting which was promised the good people of Ghana, or the reversing of the cocoa industry? Farmers are asking. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it is not only the poor farmer who is suffering. The failings of government and Cocoa Board are also hurting the cocoa buying companies, that is the LBCs, and transporters, especially the indigenous companies and local enterprises. By delaying in repayment of cocoa taken over from the LBCs, these business and investments are at risk. They have their working capitals locked up, their progress hindered, and financing confidence undermined. Contrary to what the NDC preached pre-election time to promote indigenous business and investments, they have rather reset to kill indigenous companies, businesses, and enterprises in the cocoa industry. We call on government and Cocoa Board to pay our cocoa farmers immediately for all cocoa beans sold and to be sold, to save the cocoa industry from slipping back to days of despondency and loss of interest. We demand an apology from government and Cocoa Board for this gross dereliction of duty. Cocoa Board must reimburse the LBCs of all outstanding repayments of cocoa purchased and delivered, and must also ensure the prompt repayment of subsequent deliveries and CTORs to avoid the recurrence of this despicable situation in the future.
Well, that's our bulletin for you. Most certainly, this Cocoa Board story is one that will be on the front burners for quite a while to come. But that's, like I said, a bulletin for you. I am Mawin Egbert.
And I am Kemini Amano. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.